Welcome to Good for Bitcoin, a weekly show recorded live every Friday where we recap the top events of the week and talk about everything that is good for Bitcoin. If it's built on Bitcoin, then it's good for Bitcoin. Let's get started.
Content shared on this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It does not constitute financial, investment, or legal advice. The views and opinions expressed are those of the host and guests and do not reflect the official policy or position of any other agency, organization, or company. We encourage you to conduct your own research and consult with a qualified professional before making any financial decisions.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Good for Bitcoin, your weekly pulse on Bitcoin innovation. We are live on goodforbitcoin.com. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in live. And Kate, it's been a pretty crazy couple of weeks, hasn't it?
Oh my God. I know we've been talking like this last week, just being like, are you good? Like, is everything okay on your end?
Yeah.
Obviously like the Coldcard is like the major thing that's been happening, which is pretty devastating for a lot of people in the Bitcoin community. So obviously we're going to get into that pretty seriously, but oof, it's tough. It's tough to like be preaching self-custody, doing all the things right, and then this happens. So I don't know if you're a cold carder, my heart is with you, I guess.
Yeah. We took last week off, not because of the incident, but we were planning on taking last week off. And then by Thursday, everything seemed pretty chill. And I was like, okay, it was kind of just like a slow news week anyway. So like no big deal. And then everything just hit the fan on Friday. And we will definitely get into all the stuff with Coldcard. I don't know, it feels weird just like being like, but first let's talk about the public companies that are buying Bitcoin. But I guess we gotta keep that up. So we'll start.
We're just here to report, you know.
That's check in on your fellow Bitcoiner though, I guess is what's going on. We're gonna get into it. There was like another like hack thing that happened this morning. It's crazy time to be self-custodying your own Bitcoin. But we're gonna get into all the stuff going on with Coldcard and talking more also about like, okay, well now what? Like, what do you do with your Bitcoin? How do you keep it safe? And I have some suggestions. We both have some suggestions on that. So we'll get into that. But let's start with public company news. So Strategy, they sold Bitcoin this week. They sold 1,637 BTC for around $104 million. They also did another ATM offering, basically meaning that they created new MSTR shares and then sold them on the market. So they kind of diluted the cost of MSTR. With the proceeds, they have increased their USD reserve by $250 million, and they also bought back $81 million of STRC. They did an STRC buyback last week too. So with all these Bitcoin sales, they now hold 842,138 BTC, and STRC is at $95 today and continues to rise by like $1 or $2 every day over the past couple of weeks. So I guess they're recovering over there, and we'll probably see STRC back at $100 pretty soon from what it looks like.
We'll see. I think Strategy is currently doing like their holdings call or some kind of earnings call right now. At least I saw a clip of it. I didn't really watch it, so I don't know if it's happening live, but they're reporting on a lot of their numbers, which is cool.
Yeah.
And then we have Strive. They bought 20 Bitcoin and they now hold 20,020. A lot of numerology there.
I like that. Block revealed, it is kind of quarterly filings season. So Block revealed that they have an additional 85 BTC in their treasury. They now hold 9,117 Bitcoin.
And then we have the American Bitcoin Corp. They bought 298 Bitcoin and they now hold 8,300 in total.
Orange BTC bought 30 Bitcoin. They now hold 3,948 BTC.
And then Capital B bought 1 Bitcoin. They now hold 3,140.
Smarter Web Company bought 12 BTC. They now hold 2,712 Bitcoin.
And then Cipher Digital sold 470 Bitcoin, which brings them down to 646. They've been selling off their Bitcoin since their high of 1,500 in total last October. So,
and yeah, Saquon also, they continue to liquidate their position, selling 344 BTC. They now just have 314 Bitcoin left. So lots of movement this week. I feel like this is like the most companies that we've mentioned in this segment in quite a while.
I've also seen that like whales are still accumulating. So like with all of this getting sold off, it seems like people are, BTC whales are picking them up.
For somebody to sell, you got to have somebody on the other end to buy. There you go. Okay, so let's get into what happened with Coldcard. So it's kind of crazy because we had just mentioned Coldcard on the show like a week prior to this happening, in response to Zach XBT, who was talking about how he was recommending like iPhone as like the most secure like hardware wallet for your Bitcoin, which we thought was like a crazy thing to say. And now it's like, in retrospect, maybe that wasn't so crazy. But yeah, anyway, if you haven't been paying attention, so Coldcard is a hardware wallet, usually recommended as kind of it's what's in the name. It's a cold Bitcoin wallet. So it's a way of being able to store and manage your Bitcoin without having it be connected to the internet or connected to like a device at all. Like everything happens like on the device itself. I have one right here. I own one. This is a Mark IV, version 4. And for a while, I was telling Kate this off stream. For a while, like I had all my Bitcoin on this, which is really crazy to think about considering what happened recently. So last week, basically it was revealed that there was this huge vulnerability in pretty much every Coldcard. Some of the newer ones, I guess, were a little less vulnerable, and depending on how you set up your seed, maybe it was a little less vulnerable. But I think just given everything going on, like I would not consider any Coldcard safe at this point to store your Bitcoin. But anyway, even if you never had connected your Coldcard to the internet, even if you never had, broadcasted your seed to the internet, you might have had all your Bitcoin on a Coldcard, and you might have just gotten all your Bitcoin drained, which is super sad for any Bitcoiner that was using Coldcard as their self custody hardware wallet of choice. And it really was surprising because it's not something that you think about. You think, oh, it's disconnected from the internet. It's a truly cold hardware wallet, totally offline, like can never get hacked. Like that was the thought process, right? For a lot of people, that's how it was kind of sold to people, was that it was like this truly offline device. Yet thousands of Bitcoin has been lost. It's been people have been tracking it on chain. Over $100 million that amount has probably gone up since then, has been lost due to this hack. So how could this have happened? I guess I'm gonna do like a quick explainer, not being like a huge expert myself, but this is how I kind of understand it to be. So when you're creating a new Bitcoin wallet from scratch, right, your wallet needs to generate a new seed phrase, a new private key. And of course, you want the generation of that private key to be random. You don't want it to be like a predetermined key or a predetermined seed phrase. You want it to be truly random. And it turns out that generating a truly random number is actually kind of difficult for computers to do. It has gotten easier and better over the years. And basically all of these major hardware wallets, including Coldcards, everybody like Ledger, Trezor, like all the other, hardware wallets, they all ship with these dedicated little chips inside of them that have random number generators in them, or RNGs. You'll probably see RNG on the timeline a lot with people talking about this. And that's all that chip does, is it just generates a random number. And the Coldcard Mark III, which is the main device that was, I think, the weakest from this hack, but all the others had a version of it as well. The Mark IV had it, and some of the others. It had one of these. It had an RNG in it. It actually was shipped with 2 different secure chips inside that were capable of generating a random number. The primary chip that the Mark III shipped with was called an STM32, which is considered a TRNG, which is a true random number generation. And the issue was that the secure elements RNG was not actively used for seed generation on Mark III era firmware. Basically, there was this code that lacked this proper path to pull randomness from it for that purpose. And so it ended up basically not using it. So in 2021, there was this firmware update that they put out for the Coldcards that introduced this bug, which basically made the seed generation silently fall back to using like a software-based version instead of like the hardware-based version. And the hardware-based version is like super secure. And if they had just used the hardware-based version, there wouldn't really have been this problem. But the issue was that it sort of silently fell back to this software-based random number generator. And that software-based random number generator wasn't really designed ever to be like secure as like, you know, generating a Bitcoin seed. It was just like for really basic random number generation. And basically how the software-based version works is it takes the Coldcard's unique ID, think of it like the Coldcard's like serial number, and it looks at like what time it is, like on an RTC kind of scale, and it uses those like inputs to generate a random number. So this basically collapsed the effective entropy, which is like the randomness, how random it is, to roughly around 40 bits, which is far below the intended 128 bits for like a 12-word seed phrase. So because of these factors, you know what the inputs were to generate these random numbers. This made it possible to reverse engineer seed generation on these devices. So even though these devices were not connected to the internet, you could kind of extrapolate like these are kind of the serial numbers or the IDs, you know, that these Coldcards use. You could just try a bunch of different, you know, dates and times and stuff like that, and effectively just like brute force your way through reverse engineering seed generation. And if you can reverse engineer the way that Coldcards generate seeds, you can get into Bitcoin wallets that might have, you know, used that seed generation. So that's what happened basically. So it's pretty crazy. I think like in retrospect, it seems like pretty like obvious that this like is a potential path to like getting your Bitcoin like hacked. The Bitcoin network, of course, didn't get hacked, but like, you know, it's the seed generation itself. But I think like, you know, a couple weeks ago, like none of us would have really thought about the fact that even though your hardware wallet was completely disconnected from the internet, that somebody could still like hack your wallet and take your Bitcoin and steal your Bitcoin. So yeah, everyone, you know, with just generated like a seed phrase, like using Coldcard and nothing else. Pretty much all of those wallets, unless you were really fast, got drained. Not everyone with a Coldcard had their funds taken yet, because Coldcard also has the option of providing additional entropy in the form of dice rolls. You see people saying like, "Oh, well, I rolled a dice 100 times, and you know my Bitcoin is still safe." You also can add like a 13th word onto your seed phrase that's known as like a passphrase. So basically, if you're rolling dice, that is another way of generating, you know, random numbers. And if you roll dice enough times, like 100 times, that is kind of a way to, you know, more closely approximate like true randomness. So for people that did that with their Coldcards, their Bitcoin is a little safer. But I would still, basically, I think it's just safe to say like stop using your Coldcard. Like it's just not worth it at this point to just continue using it when there's like so many better hardware wallet options out there. But Yeah, I don't know. Did that explainer help, or like anything else I should add to like what happened and why these cold cards got exposed the way that they did?
I think like the technicality of it, like you did a really good job. It's just like this like weak entropy is really like um it's kind of like one of the oldest failures of like wallets that happened. So like you did a really good job explaining it. I think like what's crazy is, you know, you consider Coldcard to be like open. I mean, I guess like open source is the right word, or like, you know, at least you can like go review it. But like the bug wasn't private. It wasn't like you know, it's not like it was malicious. I mean, maybe they had this like big long plan implemented years
No,
ago.
no,
So like,
don't spread those kinds of.
oh no, just kidding.
I don't
But
think it was intentional, but it was certainly maybe a little
yeah,
negligent.
at the end of the day, it's like open source like only works if like you're actually auditing it and you're like going through it consistently.
Yeah,
So you know, sitting there for like 5 years on this bug is just kind of like mind blowing to me.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't know, it's
That's a
great.
good point to highlight, is that this bug has existed for like 5 years,
Yeah. And it's
and
like with AI, really, that a lot of this has
yeah,
been like uncovered, right?
exactly.
Which is like also something we're going to talk about later, is just like so many, it's just like accelerating the rate at which like AI attackers are, yeah, like outpacing like
Yeah,
teams and companies. And, you know, you can still have all of these like security practices in place, but there is a lot of vulnerabilities out there, which are being exposed. And it's just so unfortunate how this one happened. I've been seeing that like the amount of like cold wallet transfers is hitting like all-time highs right now.
hmm,
Basically like since FTX, people are just like obviously trying to like move their funds. And it's hard to know like whether it's being stolen or whether it's someone just like moving, you know, to
yeah,
their own custody again. But yeah.
yeah. My hot take post that I made last week was your Bitcoin would have been safer on FTX than it would have been on a cold card.
I was
Just
telling you
a
like
crazy
the
thing to
only
say.
yeah. And we were talking offline about this, and I was like, honestly, like my laziness saved me here. Like I had a
Yeah,
cold card and I'd been planning to use it for years, and I just like it was this whole process of understanding like how air gapping works that like seemed kind of daunting to me, and I just never ended up doing it.
yeah,
And wow,
yeah.
yeah. I'm gonna stream it.
I had my Bitcoin on this thing for probably a couple of years. And the reason that I switched off of it was because it felt like it was a single point of failure that,
Yeah,
I just didn't want to, yeah, I wanted to, have a better solution for. So,
yeah,
um, yeah, there was people on, I can't remember who it was. There was a post about talking about how like we all, in retrospect, it's pretty stupid that we were plugging these things into like 9-volt batteries to avoid plugging them into computers to,
yeah,
not connect them to the internet. And then meanwhile, like they were so insecure. Um, yeah, it's pretty crazy. But this, I mean, this will never hold Bitcoin again, I think, for me, but it's like a
yeah.
little relic now that I have in my growing supply of like failed Bitcoin products.
That's funny.
Put it next to my
Um,
BlockFi credit card.
there you go. Oh my God, yeah, that's so good. Just a shrine of failed
Yeah.
Bitcoin memorabilia. Um, okay, totally side note, breaking the fourth wall. I need to change my Wi-Fi network. Just give me 1 second. I don't want to
Okay.
just leave you hanging. Okay.
Okay. Um, well, I'll queue up the next topic and you can rejoin. So how should you secure your Bitcoin now? I already mentioned like one point of failure, right? We don't want all of your eggs in one basket. So I would recommend personally, like if you have anything on a cold card, even if you rolled dice, look into other options. There's so many options that are out there. We're gonna get into some of them. Um, My recommendation though, as you're thinking about like, okay, I had a Coldcard, what do I do with my Bitcoin? Where do I put my Bitcoin? Is number one, don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? Put them in different places.
Yeah.
How I personally think about it, and this is what prompted me to look into BitKey and other options like that are more multi-sig, is what a lot of people like. I used to work at Microsoft, and in IT and Microsoft, I learned about this 3-2-1 rules, a 3-2-1 backup rule. And really what that means is you have three of a backup, two different types, two different media types, right? Whether that's like a backup on a CD, backup on a hard drive, whatever, and one copy offsite. So applied to Bitcoin, that means you have three wallets, like a multi-sig. You have a mixture between hardware and software wallets, and then one of those wallets is offsite. So you don't have all three wallets all in your desk drawer, right? You have them around in other locations outside of your house, outside of your home, to keep your Bitcoin secure. So if you keep all your Bitcoin on a single hardware wallet, doesn't really matter what type. It could be a Ledger, it can be a Trezor, Coldcard, whatever, right? Then your Bitcoin really isn't like that secure because it's just a single point of failure. So if you have any amount of Bitcoin that would be life changing or life altering for you to lose, I think absolutely bare minimum is you should be looking into multi-sig as an option. There's a lot of great multi-sig options out there. BitKey is one that I've talked about a bunch on the show. You have one key on the device, you have a second key on your phone, a third key that BitKey holds themselves. That's off site, right? Casa and Unchained are both also really good options if you want someone to help you manage your multi-sig self-custody. But honestly, multi-sig, custody or just self-custody in general isn't for everyone,
Yeah.
right? If you were not on Twitter all day on, Thursday and Friday, and not paying attention, like I don't blame you. Right?
Yeah.
We're not all
Yeah.
on Twitter all day every day,
Yeah.
looking for people tweeting about like 0-day incidents. So,
Yeah.
River we've talked about on the show before, Fidelity we've talked about on the show before, BitGo, Anchor Watch. There's all these really great, really trusted options that are out there that they manage your keys for you, and that's totally acceptable. As an option if you don't want to deal with self custody on your own. There's a lot of great options, and we're going to talk more about Anchor Watch, but Anchor Watch is also offering, as kind of a response to this Coldcard stuff, they're offering free, no obligation custody for 60 days. So if you need a safe haven to store your BTC and reevaluate your options, Anchor Watch is a really great options there. And there's no one size all fit solution to the answer of like how should I secure my Bitcoin and how should I keep it safe. But most likely you'll have a combination of different hardware and software wallets. And, I have some Bitcoin on Ledger, and I have some Bitcoin on a BitKey, and I have some Bitcoin
Yep.
on, some self-custody options. And just don't put all your eggs in one basket, I think is the main takeaway there.
Yep. And just to touch on multi-sig, I feel like sometimes that's a term that gets thrown around and is not like fully, like it's a very simple concept, but I think like just to explain multi-sig, it's basically like you have multiple keys that are required to input into your wallet in order to move any funds. So, most wallets right now, you just have one private key. And if you have access to that, you can move all of the funds. With a multi-sig, multi-signature, you have multiple keys. Usually it's like two or three. Or it's usually three, right? And then you need like at least two of those keys in order to move the funds.
There's 2 of 3. There's like 3 of 5. There's you can have more. But it's odd
true.
numbers like generally.
But it just goes back to this like no point of central failure, which is like again the whole ethos of Bitcoin. So, I guess apply that to your keys. It just makes a lot of sense. So I think that's a pretty big wake up call for a lot of people, a lot of Bitcoiners. Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned AI. I was going to skip ahead and talk about AI before we get to maybe the good news or why this is good for Bitcoin. There certainly appears to be like an AI security arms race that's happening between the bad actors and the good actors. So some more stuff dropped this week. So Boltz, which is a non-custodial atomic swap lightning provider. They announced on this Monday, that their swap services would be unavailable until further notice, which also took down a bunch of other services. They were kind of used as the back end for a lot of other services and providers. In their update, they shared that, it's a quote, "Over the past months, we have seen a steady rise in automated AI-assisted probing of our infrastructure, and we have dealt with several exploits. Each was contained, but the pattern is clear. Attackers now iterate faster than a team our size can find and patch. In the past few days alone, we saw a drastic acceleration, and we do not believe that asymmetry will reverse. After reviewing the results of our own report security scans, we cannot responsibly re-enable swaps, especially as we are being actively targeted by what appear to be multiple resource groups, while we race to deploy fixes." So another example, Coldcard was a similar one, small team. Bolts is also like a small team, and they just can't keep up currently with the onslaught, I guess, of AI penetration that's happening in their systems.
And then there was also Zeus. They announced on Thursday that they were also temporarily shutting down their infrastructure because of a security incident. They said the attack was mitigated and that no customer funds were lost. And they also did say that their Lightning Node and LSP channel services would be scheduled to come back in the coming days. But just another example, of AI penetration.
Yeah, lots of Lightning providers. This morning, BTC Pay server, which also provides like Lightning payment infrastructure. They announced that there was a critical vulnerability that was being actively exploited, which can result in a loss of funds. They issued an update, but if you didn't see that, right, and you're still running an old version of BTC Pay server, like, you're exposed literally right now if you haven't updated. So it's crazy. There's all these exploits and all these vulnerabilities that are being discovered through the use of AI. And to, I guess, put a more positive spin on it, like, why is all of this good for Bitcoin? I think it's been pretty cool to see Bitcoiners rallying around things that actually matter, like security, security of user wallets, security of like users' Bitcoin, and not talking about like, spam, which is already like solved through transaction fees. So that's been cool. The one thing that's really been highlighted through all of this too is Codex and Claude both basically refuse to do security audits of anything that's related to crypto, which has caused everyone to turn to like using open models, like Kimmy and Quen. Wanted to highlight specifically Rob Hamilton from Anchorwatch, who has been leading the charge and helped create this Red Team initiative, which is now being led by Callie from Cashew. And they've been spending probably upwards of like $10,000 a day in credits on open weight models like Kimmy and Quen to find more vulnerabilities in Bitcoin infrastructure. I think the BTC Pay server one was like actually like discovered through the red teaming. So that's been really huge. In an update yesterday, Callie shared that they had scanned 425 projects so far, and they had, of those 425 projects, they have produced over 1,000 high or critical findings that they're reporting, to those teams. So wanted to give a shout out to OpenSats. If you have the means, OpenSats has established a red team fund to help pay security researchers and then reimburse the LLM costs that they've been burning through. So opensats.org/funds/red is the URL. Wanted to give them a shout out. But the reason that this is all good for Bitcoin is it's forcing, kind of this wake up call of like, oh, we really need to like make sure that all of our Bitcoin infrastructure is hardened. Bitcoin itself has not been hacked, but there's all these different infrastructure providers that are getting hacked. And I think I'm still like pretty hopeful that these types of things will be able to be patched faster than they can be exploited, and we're going to see a few things that maybe some of these services temporarily shutting down while that kind of transition happens. But I'm still pretty hopeful, I guess, that this is all going to be good for Bitcoin in the end, and it's just going to make all of our Bitcoin more secure.
Yeah. But again, to those who might have been affected by this, like, it's a seriously tough time. I can't even imagine. So
Yeah,
let's hope
I
it's
know.
good for Bitcoin in the end, and hope that like, yeah, just like strengthens and hardens the network as we continue to go through a lot of AI and quantum and stuff like this. So
Yeah,
yeah,
well said.
should we get into some bankruptcy news?
Yeah, like, yeah.
Take it away.
Yeah, decentralized crypto project Storage has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. So Storage Labs, which is the company behind the decentralized cloud storage network Storage, I think it's
Yeah, I
Storage,
think so. Storage. Yeah.
has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection to restructure their legacy debt while keeping the network fully operational. The company previously raised around $35 million, including roughly $30 million through its 2017 token sale. Their token, which is STORJ, Storage, has nearly halved in the past 2 weeks to just 4 cents, and is now down basically 99 cents from the all-time high of $3.80 in 2021, to 4 cents. It's crazy. So yeah, RIP to Storage, I guess. I don't know how decentralized you can call it if you're, filing for bankruptcy.
Yeah.
It's an interesting way to put it. But my recommendation, if you're looking for a great decentralized storage option, is ordinals, like Bitcoin ordinals. Put it on Bitcoin, and you'll never have to. It's on there and it's permanent. So that's my recommendation if you're looking for an alternative, I guess.
Yeah. One-time fee.
Yeah.
And then we can get into some good news. Oh, just kidding. It's not good news. The
Yeah.
next story we have is around a French tax agent who allegedly sold personal data of crypto users to criminals. And so in this story, there is a French tax agent who is identified as Galia C, and they've been accused of accessing and selling sensitive information from internal French tax authority databases and then selling that to criminals, who are then using this data. And I think there was at least one violent home assault on a prison officer and his wife. It kind of stemmed from like a dispute over smuggled mobile phones in a prison cell. But yeah, regardless, it's enabled a home invasion and, potentially
Yep.
some wrench attacks here. So Galia, who is this tax agent, also queried details on those known to be involved with crypto who would be suspected of having substantial holdings of, Bitcoin or other crypto assets, and potentially setting them up for, yeah, wrench attacks where basically the person who's doing the attack uses like physical force to, like a wrench, it's like, imagine taking a wrench that's worth $5 and like extracting, a lot of Bitcoin or like digital assets from someone who
Hmm.
who is holding them on their hardware device. So, yeah, not
Yeah.
good.
This another like reason to like do multi-sig as well and
Yes.
have like wallets like not in your home, because like basically like if somebody broke into your home and held you at gunpoint and was like, give me all your Bitcoin,
Yeah.
like if you have a proper good multi-sig setup, like that should actually not even be possible. Like
Yeah,
you should not
exactly.
even be able to do that. Uh,
Yeah.
depending on how much Bitcoin you have, if you care about that stuff. So, yeah, that's another reason to look into some of these other services like Unchained, Casa, um, for multi-sig. Because yeah, it's just another way of like further securing your Bitcoin.
It's also like a knock on like how KYC and like these mandatory like reporting structures are
Yeah.
potentially very dangerous for
Hmm.
crypto holders. And like even, France had some like crypto kidnappings last year. I think the
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder
Ledger
if these were related
CEO.
to that.
I don't know. But it's like, yeah, it's called this like honeypot effect, right? It's like
Hmm.
all of this like super valuable information. Like imagine, like you look at like Ledger's, like imagine they have a Shopify store and you access that. Now you have like everyone who potentially has assets. And so it's very tough. And it goes to show like why a lot of Bitcoin holders are very private,
Yeah.
don't like to like share much about themselves, or um, yeah, it's a tough situation because you really
Yeah.
don't want to be linked to it, right?
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned like Ledger's had like their email databases, like, hacked multiple times, I think, in the past. If you order, if you order a hardware wallet from one of these guys and their like databases get hacked and suddenly the hackers know the addresses of all the users of Ledger, like that's a
Yeah.
potentially really bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like you hear sometimes like advocating like go to go to Best Buy, and buy your Ledger there, and pay cash and
Yeah.
you know do all the things to try to like disconnect
Yeah.
from that as much as you can,
Yeah.
to not connect your identity to the hardware wallet. Um, yeah, it's just these things that you have to think about these days. It's pretty crazy.
Or just, yeah, go store it on FTX, you know?
I guess those users were made whole through their. They were one of the main investors in Anthropic, and look at them now.
That's so good.
Yeah. Um, some cool news. We've been pretty bleak so far. Some cool news.
Yeah.
So, Wiz, from mempool.space, creator, founder of mempool.space, he shared his intent to file for .bitcoin, as a TLD with ICANN. This is really cool. So, posted about it. We can share the link in the show notes, but basically said for the first time since 2012, ICANN is accepting applications for new generic top-level domains in the DNS root. So a TLD is like .com, .net, and then we don't have .bitcoin yet, but this is an application to potentially have that in the future. So he basically shared that there's no successful community priority application for this. So he is going to basically take charge and submit this application on behalf of the community. If he doesn't do this, he says the Bitcoin TLD would most likely go to auction and be sold to the highest bidder, potentially falling into the wrong hands, completely outside the reach of the community. So, we don't want that, right? We want the .bitcoin to be, go to the Bitcoiners. So he basically shared that ICANN's community priority evaluation examines whether the application has support from the intended identified community. So for the application to succeed and for the .bitcoin TLD to not get auctioned off to the highest bidder, he needs written statements from relevant operators, projects, organizations, things like that. So go find the post from Wiz, voice your support, I guess, and maybe we'll all have .bitcoin handles in the near future. We'll see.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into some quick headlines. We have some fun ones. We have quite a few to get into. So the first one is for anyone who's listening who's a Stacks user. You'll be hearing us preach this quite a bit, but you have to restake your STX. And we're trying to switch from stacking to staking. This is like
even for STX.
Even for STX,
Okay.
yes. I think it's just going to be easier to just use one terminology, and staking is one that like people, across the crypto universe understand.
Yeah.
But basically with POX, this is the hard fork that happened on Stacks last week. It is a consensus upgrade. So every STX position that was currently stacked becomes unstacked and now needs to be restaked. Mm-hmm. with the upgrade. So whether you're using, a pool and leather, or you're using Xverse or Stacking DAO, or even Rider, you will need to restake. And if you don't, you will miss out on Bitcoin rewards. The current cycle will pay out normally as it does, but you need to I think there is comms about it. I think it's Bitcoin block like 960,050 maybe. I think it's scheduled for around August 12th. But you just need to make sure that you're restaked before then in order to enter into the next cycle. Yep. Otherwise, yeah, you will miss out.
I did that myself yesterday. I went on Stacking DAO and
nice.
And restacked. So yeah, Yeah, so by August 12th, I guess do it to avoid interruption. Because if you don't do it by then you'll have to wait another 2 weeks, and you'll have like 2 weeks
Exactly.
without rewards. So
Yeah.
yeah,
All right.
um, we feel like we've been talking a lot about this lately over the past few weeks. We've got another one bites the dust, I guess. Crypto exchange
Yeah.
Bitmart has announced that they are winding down. Trading stops at the end of this month, and everything shuts down at the end of January. But I think they said that withdrawals will continue past then, so you're not going to be
Yeah.
out of your, of having access to your crypto. But RIP Bitmart.
RIP. And another RIP. Do you remember POAPs?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they announced after 5 years, they're winding down too. So POAP stood for Proof of Attendance Protocol. It was built on Ethereum. And their whole thing was like allowing you to mint memories, digital memories, and they would call them POAPs. So it was kind of like a digital stamp of like, if you attended an event or I don't know, any like
Yeah.
virtual event, in-person event. There was a lot of people that like were really excited about them. They were kind of almost, yeah, they're just like an NFT basically, to
Hmm.
like prove that you attended something, you were there, you accomplished something, whatever it was, memory, stuff like that. But yeah, they were just saying crypto's funding cycles and distribution dynamics made it hard to build a sustainable company without cannibalizing the ethos that made POAP mean something. That was from their founder, but there was a lot of people who were like very happy to see POAP shut down. They were basically just like, I don't understand why this ever had product market fit, and I'm excited to see projects fail that don't have PMF. So
I
harsh
think
words.
the idea of them is interesting. I
Yeah.
think what like upsets me about it is just like, I guess they weren't decentralized, right? Like, how can you shut down? Like,
Yeah, I know.
if you were like, it's just another like, I guess I'm just so my thought process about like NFTs is so like ordinals focused
Yes.
that I'm like,
Yeah.
how is this like, how is it shutting down? What does that even mean, right? Does
Yeah.
that mean that like suddenly all my JPEGs are pointing to nothing?
Yep.
I guess that's what that
Yep.
means.
Yep.
Um, I don't know. It's weird that we have all these things that say that they're decentralized, and they're just
Yeah.
clearly not whatsoever
At all.
decentralized.
Yeah.
But the idea is cool, right? If I like go to like an event, I think I have a couple of POAPs I've gotten from like going to like ETH Denver and stuff like
Yep.
that. I've received a few. It's cool to have like a little digital like trinket thing
Totally.
in your wallet when you go, and you have
Yes.
like literally proof of attendance, right?
Yeah.
In your wallet. So like the idea behind it is interesting. I just don't understand how it can shut down if it was like marketed as being this
Yeah.
decentralized. I don't know. I guess I'm just too much of a Bitcoiner or too
No,
much of
I
an
feel you.
ordinals maxi, I guess, to understand how this is a thing.
Yeah, I agree. People love badges and all of that stuff, but yeah, like you don't need to be decentralized. Or like just don't claim you're decentralized if you're not. Like just be what you are. You're
Yeah.
like, yeah, we create cool NFTs and we go away, so do they.
Yeah. I also saw people joking about the fact that I don't know this girl, Isabel is her name.
I don't either.
She posted like the announcement like that POAPs was shutting down, or they were winding down POAPs, and it was like, a few paragraphs long, and then she like also posted like a selfie with it, and it's just like, what are you doing? Like, this is a
Yeah,
weird way
to
to
be fair.
announce.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they had already let go of their comms team by then or something. A lot of comms failures over the past couple of weeks.
Seriously.
Coldcard too. They
Yeah.
just have been absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
anyway, that was what upset me most, I think, was how it was announced that POAPs were shutting down.
That's funny. Love the analysis.
You mentioned already in the stacking news, but support for staking STX is now available on Rider One. So we wanted to shout out our friends over at Rider.
Yeah.
That's powered by Fastpool. So if you have a Rider One hardware wallet, you can stake your STX which is very cool.
Yeah, congrats to them.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited that you put this one in here. So TikTok, we covered this, that there was like Bitcoin gift cards available for sale on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
And I had asked like, oh, I wonder if they're on a discount, because there's lots of websites where you can sell gift cards, for anything. And people usually sell them at a discount because they just want cash. They don't really want the money to wherever it is. And you're confirming Bitcoin gift cards are selling at a discount on TikTok.
Yeah, I don't know
Through
if it's
Fold,
I
right?
don't know if it's still live, but the CEO of Fold, which is like who powers the Bitcoin gift
Yeah.
cards, tweeted about this, that yeah, they were on sale. I guess yeah, you could buy like a $25 Bitcoin gift card for
Yeah.
$21.25, which is like a pretty decent discount.
Pretty decent deal. But
Um,
people, he was kind of getting rinsed in the comments because people were saying like, well, there's a premium that you have to pay, and like, so, I don't know if Fold takes a fee. I'm not sure what it was, but you were still getting it at a discount. It was just like he was claiming it was 15%, and like with the fee that you were paying, it was ended up being like 7 or 8%, which still cheaper, but
yeah,
um,
yeah, I
yeah,
don't. Everyone always takes a little spread on the back end, so who knows
just a
like how
little
much the actual savings is, I guess. I haven't done the math.
Uh, and then we have a W for the solo miners. So I think on Monday we had another solo miner who was able to mine a Bitcoin block. The reward was a 3.157 BTC, which is roughly around 200K. And that's 3 weeks after another solo miner hit a block and took home like roughly the same amount. But 3 weeks ago, he was using a BitAxe, which is basically like it's an open source miner that's like so small it literally fits in your hand and costs like a few $100s. And the odds of hitting a Bitcoin block using that are like one in billions.
Yeah.
But I guess it's like the year of the solo miner, because this is like now 13 solo blocks this year that have been, yeah, won by solo miners, which is usually there's like maybe one a year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, I feel like we have mentioned this a few times this year on the show.
Yeah,
That this happened. So
pretty cool.
yeah, yeah, it's called like lottery mining. Basically, it's like the
Yes.
risk of the risk of the draw. Whatever. What's the phrase? But yeah, like the chances of you actually mining a Bitcoin block are really low. But if
Yep.
you do, you'll
You
win.
win big.
You'll win big.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Lastly, there were reports yesterday, and it seems like it's confirmed today that the U.S. Senate has postponed the Clarity Act vote to September when they return from their August recess. So, not happening anytime soon, I think, is the consensus with Clarity.
Well, are we surprised? No.
Not entirely.
No.
I mean, Bitcoin already has Clarity, so
Yeah, there you go.
it's good with us.
That should be your new campaign. Bitcoin doesn't need clarity, it already has it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that wraps it up for the week. Long episode. We had a
Yeah.
lot to go through, a lot of important stuff to talk about with this cold card stuff. Hopefully, none of our listeners were affected by the cold card stuff. If you do, or if you were, we're really sorry. Yeah, that's crazy. But hopefully, brighter things to come. Hopefully, all
Yep.
these security holes get patched before the hackers, find them, and we'll all be better off from that. But yeah, thank you to everybody for tuning in. Catch all of our episodes on goodforbitcoin.com. We stream live every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern, and we will see you all next week.
Awesome. See you guys.